What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Avengers Tower, and oh man, I'm pretty hyped up to talk to you guys about this one, Thunderbolts Movie, secretly being developed by Marvel Studios, says Justin Kroll. Many other scoopers and insiders have come out to corroborate this report, and there was a time after Avengers Endgame where I kept talking about Dark Avengers quite often, and one of the main reasons was because I felt like the setting of the MCU post-Blip and post-Thanos, with all the Avengers being scattered, was the perfect setting to introduce something like the Dark Avengers. And the TLDR on the Dark Avengers from Marvel Comics all had to do with the Skrull invasion being thwarted by a group of heroes called the Thunderbolts, who were basically villains that were working for the US government in order to win back their freedom. It's very similar to the Suicide Squad, but what happens is the Thunderbolts, under the leadership of Norman Osborn, actually are responsible for holding off the Skrull invasion, and ultimately Norman himself kills the Skrull Queen. And after this, he's considered a hero. He's given complete control of the Avengers and of S.H.I.E.L.D. He changes S.H.I.E.L.D. to Hammer, and he changes the Avengers, well, just basically to the Dark Avengers. They still call themselves the Avengers, but it's made up of a lot of villainous people, and they do quite nefarious things. And the Dark Avengers run is sick, dude. It leads into Siege, the Sentry, the Void, all kinds of dope stuff in that run. And I think, frankly, that a lot of the stuff I was talking about back then about Dark Avengers in the MCU is going to happen in this Thunderbolts movie. So let's look at this report here by Deadline. Justin Kroll says Marvel's Thunderbolts movie taps Jake Schreier as director. Exclusive: Marvel Studios' top secret Thunderbolts movie looks to have gained momentum as Deadline has learned that Jake Schreier is set as the director of the new Marvel tentpole. That is a very interesting word, a phrase, and we'll come back to that. Black Widow scribe Eric Pearson is penning the script, with Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige producing. Not much is known about the plot of the film other than it revolves around a group of villains who are sent on missions commissioned by the government. Another element that remains vague is which characters will be a part of this team, since the film is technically still in development, though sources say Marvel has been in touch with certain individuals who already are a part of the MCU to make sure to keep an opening in their schedules for next summer when it shoots. That being said, some of the characters who could potentially be appearing in the film include Baron Zemo, Yelena Belova, Ghost, Taskmaster, and the Abomination, U.S. Agent, and Winter Soldier. General Thunderbolt Ross is also a possibility, since he's the person in the comics who assembles the first team. That's actually not true from comics, but fine. Hence the name, but that is unconfirmed. Any deal for any actor has closed. Now, of course, William Hurt tragically passed away. He was the character that becomes Red Hulk in the comics, Thaddeus. And so, yeah, kind of a shame there. We'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Now, interesting here, they talk about Schreier. He cut his teeth directing Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar music videos, broke onto the scene with his 2013 Sundance darling Robot and Frank. He also directed 2015's Paper Towns, recently wrapped production on the A24 and Netflix series Beef, and has directed episodes of FX's Dave. He is rep by CCAA. Okay. Couple of crazy things to talk about in this article. Tentpole movie. That's got me pretty excited, man. That's got me feeling like this could replace the Avengers in the MCU for some time, or at least stand toe-to-toe with other Avengers stuff. I mean, right now, they're not really utilizing the Avengers at all. I believe She-Hulk might open the door for some of that to be explained, with Banner being there and doing his thing. And also, the closest thing we got to seeing the inner workings of the Avengers, or how that's all being handled in the MCU, was the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi, which does show Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner and Wong all being in communication and essentially recruiting Shang-Chi into the Avengers. So perhaps you'll still get the Avengers, but you'll also have the Thunderbolts. Now, here's an interesting tweet by Grace Randolph. She says here, I've been telling you this for months. I hear that the name Thunderbolts is going to be a nod to William Hurt, and as of now, the role will not be recast. So I think what she's suggesting here is that they may actually have William Hurt's character, Thaddeus Ross, die in the MCU as well. Very similar to what they're doing with Chadwick Boseman. And I think just a lot of fans feel really weird about that kind of stuff. I see no reason why you can't recast these characters, including William Hurt, including T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman. Like, to me, the characters, they exist beyond different people coming in and out. I've done videos about the recast T'Challa movement and how important I think it is to have T'Challa in the MCU. It's not quite the same thing with Thaddeus Ross. Like, he's not of the level of T'Challa, even in the comics. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they're going that route. Now, having said that, it could actually work that he's no longer there, is gone, because he did look pretty ill, actually, even in the Black Widow movie. So canonically, it could work. And I kind of like the idea of them taking his name and creating the name of the team because of him. Now, another interesting thing that was shared out there was by Charles Murphy, who does suggest that Val, who we think is going to be the person kind of putting this team together, will possibly be in Wakanda Forever, although he was very clear in saying that he will not be recruiting a resurrected Eric Killmonger, which honestly kind of bums me out. I kind of want Killmonger back, if I'm being real. But in reality, Val is probably recruiting other characters to the Thunderbolts, and this could actually include Riri Williams. And I gotta say, that would actually be pretty freaking cool to me if Riri Williams in the MCU went a different route than she does in the comics, and she joined up with the Thunderbolts. That's kind of like a more hardcore version of Riri Williams. I would kind of be here for it. But at the end of the day, I do think characters like Baron Zemo, Yelena, Ghost, Taskmaster, the Abomination, U.S. Agent, and Winter Soldier are all incredible picks. Like, a lot of those characters are awesome, and I would love to see them all interacting together. I mean, Tim Roth, Abomination, working with a team with Baron Zemo, Yelena, and friggin' Winter Soldier. Like, sign me the up.
Language.
Like, the Taskmaster from Black Widow is like, okay, like, I would have much preferred the actual Taskmaster that's in Marvel Comics, but maybe they can do something interesting to develop that character further in that direction. I actually do like the Ghost character a lot. I think she was awesome in the film, kind of underutilized overall, and she'd be a great pick for this team as well. Now, one other thing I want to talk about with regards to this movie from the rumor mill, and this might get a little spoilery or leaky, so maybe you want to check out at this point. But this new leaker on the scene named Great Phase retweeted a tweet that he made earlier this year, where he says that piece of vibranium tracking tech made by Riri will become very valuable, might just be included in a very thunderous project. And this is referring to a big rumor and leak about Riri Williams inventing some material that can track vibranium, and perhaps that being why she's in Wakanda Forever. But Great Phase just retweeted that with a picture of Kazar from the Savage Land and the Savage Avengers. And he said, thunderous and savage indeed. And I mean, what he's obviously kind of teasing out here is that Kazar and some of the members of maybe the Savage Avengers will also be included in the MCU version of the Thunderbolts. And I just gotta say, like, tentpole in fucking D.
Language.
Because this seems wild, man. I love this lineup, but adding Kazar, adding some more Savage characters to it as well, that's pretty mind-blowing stuff. And I think this is freaking awesome. It could lead to a new Dark Avengers type scenario where maybe this Thunderbolt team starts going around outshining the current cast of the Avengers and ultimately is given more clearance, or perhaps one of the members of this team is put in charge of the Avengers proper and both teams merge. I'm not exactly sure. But another kind of interesting element here is the Norman Osborn character, right? There were a lot of rumors about Norman coming into the MCU. There were a lot of rumors suggesting that Kevin Feige very badly wants Norman in the MCU. And you could even read into this project being delayed so much because Feige wants to make sure he can actually get Norman secured. Now, around the time of Spider-Man No Way Home, there were a lot of rumors that he had secured it, that the work he had done on this project and this new deal that he currently had with Sony's Pictures would allow him to use the Norman Osborn character, but I don't know that that's going to be the case. And what I was told a long time ago was that Feige certainly wanted Norman, but he had a couple of backup plans for MCU proper characters that he could inject into that same role that Norman has in the comic books and lead the Thunderbolts. Maybe it'll just be Zemo. Maybe it will be Val. Maybe it will be Justin Hammer or some other character we haven't seen for some time. I don't know exactly, but either way, I'm very excited for this tentpole Thunderbolts movie because, you know, the Disney Plus shows have been okay. nothing's really compared to the MCU magic that happens in these movies. And so I'm glad they're taking all these different characters, putting them together for a big old new MCU franchise. I'm excited. I'm sure you have some thoughts, maybe some questions. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below.